Hello, I'm Ross, and today I'm going to show you how you can implement out-of-order streaming using vanilla JavaScript and custom elements. If you've ever used a server framework that supports streaming in components asynchronously, like React server components, you probably wondered how that actually takes place. Today we'll look under the hood and see how streams are created and how you can implement a stream of HTML onto your web page. I'm going to be using DOMCO for this example, but this example applies to any server framework that supports returning a response from an API endpoint. So let's start with our HTML template. We're going to split this template into two chunks that will send in our readable stream response. So our first chunk is going to be the first half of our HTML. Then we're going to stream in some custom elements here, and then we'll send the end chunk. We'll split this stream on this text so we know where to insert our custom elements. Next, we're going to have some streaming targets, and when our custom elements get streamed in here, they will have some client-side JavaScript that supports inserting that data that they have into the correct target. So let's copy that into our application, and we'll move on to creating our custom element. So the stream HTML custom element is going to look something like this. It will kind of be our vessel for our stream data to arrive in. When the browser sees these elements come in, it will immediately run this connected callback method that we're going to write. So here's an example of what this might look like inside of our HTML. So we'll have a stream data element here, and this will contain two attributes. The first one will be a target, which is going to be a query selector that will target one of our targets above. So in this case, this element might target this greeting with the greeting class, and that will be passed directly into our document.querySelectorAll. Next, we'll have another attribute, and that will just contain our HTML. So in this case, it might be greetings. And what this element will do is when this element is connected, it will select all of the elements with the selector, so in this case greeting, and for each of those elements it will get the HTML attribute, so our text here, and it will set the inner HTML of this element equal to whatever is in this attribute. This allows us to put our data wherever we want it into the page and not just into this next section of our stream. We can put it within some text in our body or wherever we need to put it in our application. So let's remove this for now since it'll be streamed in instead, and we'll create our stream HTML custom element. Next, we'll move on to our server-side code where we'll create our request handler. And we're going to do a few things here. First, we'll import our HTML page, and we're going to split it up into two different chunks. So our first chunk and our second chunk, and we're going to be splitting it on that stream text. So we'll have our two different chunks that you can remember here. This will be our first chunk, and this will be our second chunk. Next, we're going to create a readable stream of strings. So we're going to be sending strings of HTML through this stream, and we're going to enqueue our first chunk and also our HTML script chunk, which will be just our custom element class that we created. And it's important to note this needs to be blocking, so if we had type module on there, it would wait until all of our HTML is loaded before running the script. In this case, we don't want to do that. We want it to be executed in advance, so we need to just use a normal script tag here. And if you're familiar with Vite, you can import just the text of a file using this raw syntax. So that's what I'm doing there. You could also just inline that script directly into the string there as well. So what we'll do is we'll stream in our custom elements here, and then we'll send in our end chunk, basically just this last part that closes our body and HTML tags at the end, and then we'll close out our stream. And we'll just put this into our response as the body and send it with the text HTML content type. So next we'll create some helper functions to serialize the HTML into the stream HTML custom element. So as I was saying earlier, we're going to need to stream in our custom elements here like this. And so that's what these helper functions are going to help us do. So basically we'll take in the target and the HTML and we'll put it into the format that we need. And we'll also escape the HTML string. Since we're putting it inside of an attribute, we need to escape it. So that, like, for example, the quote character doesn't conflict with and close our attribute too early. Finally, we'll create some loaders and we'll load some data asynchronously. I'm just going to use a random delay function to simulate some latency, but in reality, this could be like a fetch call or maybe a database query that you're performing inside these loaders. And all of these data would be streamed into the HTML when it comes in. So we're going to create an array of loaders to load asynchronously, and each of them will have just a random delay to simulate some latency. So this one's going to target our greeting element with the greeting class. This one will target our message element with the ID of message. And this one is just going to target another custom element. I'm just going to call it load data, and that will target this one. So it doesn't matter, anything that works with query selector all, you can use for your target here with the way I've set this up. And so we've got an array of asynchronous functions. We're going to load all of those in parallel using the promise.all method, which will run all of these in parallel and enqueue our chunks as they come in. And then we'll enqueue our end chunk again and close our controller. So let's copy that in and we can see how that works. And if we run npm run build and we'll run a preview and open up our dev tools, and we'll refresh the page, and you can see we don't have any extra requests coming through. It all comes through in this one request for our HTML page. This is an example of how you can implement streaming using just a few lines of client-side JavaScript. I hope this example provides a look under the hood of how HTML streaming works. Thanks for listening to this video. Let me know what you think in the comments, or let me know if you like this video by hitting the thumbs up. Have a great day.